All right, everybody, we'll call our third and final workshop of the day to order. Just about 13 or 14 minutes late. Mr. Klintz has assured me he's going to be very brief and really quick.
Yes.
We want to thank all you for being here, and we'll start our facilities workshop now.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This is the facilities update. Going to update you on some of the exciting projects that we're working on, starting with Harmony Middle School, and I'll ask the team to join us at the table. So you will be seeing the GMP on the board agenda this evening. So we will turn it over to Mr. Lockard. Would you like to start with some words about the project?
Yes, we're very excited to land this middle school, Harmony AA. As you know, it was moved up a year basically, so we're still fast tracking it. And without further ado, we've got Schinkel Schultz here, that's the designer, and Moss, who's the CM. And Dave, you want to take over?
Yeah.
Dave Torbert?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be as brief as I can because I know time's of the essence. The first slide with the project goals and objectives, those are the same as they always have been.
Is this for Westside K-8 though, or for Harmony?
It's the reuse. It's a
reuse
of the middle school CC.
Okay. Yeah. West Side started off as a middle school.
I've read it 4
times.
Good. I'm like, why are we doing this?
So the goals and objectives are the same. Really, I think the important part that we have to talk about is the Army Corps permit. We got direction on the 14th that the district wanted to move forward with Path B, which was the off-site mitigation, save substantial amount of money that you see there on the slide. So there's some steps that are involved. The first step there, development management plan, has been accomplished and it was submitted on the 1st of this month. The next 3 steps are all kind of intertwined with one another. And I'm going to kind of start at the bottom. We can't get the Army Corps permit until we get the South Florida Water Management permit. We can't get the South Florida Water Management permit until we can provide them proof of ownership of the property, which I believe you all are going to be addressing at your regular board meeting tonight.
That's another board agenda item.
And so once that will trigger the process of going forward with the Water Management District, which will then allow us to get the Army Corps permit. So that's all in good order. It's in good status. So nothing to be, I think, too concerned about with there, but there are some steps to be taken.
And the good news is all the fees for the permits have already been negotiated, and they're ready to go forward. So when we talked to you last, it was kind of an unknown exactly how much savings there was going to be from going with Path B versus Path A, but we knew there would definitely be savings. And there will be, it looks like it's going to be around 562,000 plus any other mitigation that we can get off of the...
Is this thing caused a delay from where we were at the last meeting?
It hasn't yet. We're still moving forward. If everything lands the way we're anticipating it, we should be ready for a January, February start, which will beat the March. Our real goal, the worst case was always March, but we're trying to better that.
Okay.
Sure.
So, the next slide, again, just to reiterate, we went through all of the value engineering exercise, resulted in a significant savings, but there was no deletion of the program in the middle school. So it is the full complement of the middle school program that's included in the design.
What got taken out from $1.7 million?
You see the very small image of all that list. There's a lot of little technical things that all add up.
Top 2 things.
Well, one thing, we decided to demingle the bus loop and the track.
Okay.
And that actually saved us money when we did that, because we did the bus loop around the wetlands, and that allowed us to move all of the drop-offs closer to the school.
Shorten the canopies.
Shorten the canopies. And
what about environmental systems? Did we do anything to that? Is that on that list at all?
What do you mean by environmental?
HVAC.
oh, no,
No.
no, we made no changes to the HVAC.
Cafeteria, any changes?
No.
Okay.
So that's it as far as the design updates. So I'll turn it over to.
And the other interesting thing was, one of the things we were looking at to VE was the practice field for the high school. Well, it turns out that it actually saved money because of the mass grading on the site. it saved money to provide, to fill that area in and dig out.
Digging the pond
dig the
deeper
pond out
to use some
deeper.
of that soil.
Right, so we kept it in, and we actually saved a little.
Good.
Just a quick update on the GMP, where we are. So we did submit to staff the GMP on the 13th. We went and we reviewed in detail on the 17th, came up with some additional cost savings, recommended those to staff, and we accepted those cost savings and implemented them into the final GMP. Currently, to date, we've met with the major trade subcontractors, so we have negotiated the site work, the concrete, steel, MEPF, doors, frames, etc. And moving forward with, once board approves, that we will have those contracts issued, start the process with the submittals, the DOP, and get that moving so that we have a jump start on when we get started.
So if we approve that tonight, you can start tomorrow? on some of this?
Yes, sir. Just to kind of give you... Sorry?
Second.
Just to kind of give you a little history of where we were, the DD estimate that we had done was $35 million and change, and the 100% CD estimate was $35,786. In that, we had that concessions building. We are now at the current GMP of $33,750,000. I would say that that is based on stakeholder input, staff input, cost savings that was accepted. A great job with outreach programs with the subcontractors, competitive bid pricing. We had opportunities to get subs involved with the budget. So having them involved in understanding the scope of the project early on, I think, allowed us to get some good competitive
Does that
pricing.
include your general conditions?
Yes, sir.
How much is your general conditions?
General conditions is 1.892.
That'll be something you'll be able to trim along the way, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to be good stewards of your money, so whatever we don't need, it's all reimbursable. We'll make sure that we actually don't have the staff out there, but we want to make sure we execute the project. It's a pretty good size site. There's a 4-month closeout. Our goal is to close the project out in 60 days, 30 to 60 days, and not take a full 4 months to close this project out. So we don't have the staff through the entire job. We've minimized the amount of staff, and the entire team is not out there 100% of the time.
It ramps up in the middle when it's heaviest and trails off at the end.
I got it.
Very well thought out.
In that GMP, I think I mentioned, we accepted about $257,000 additional savings aside from the previous budgets. We were able to add back the track and the asphalt surface as part of that, and then the rest of the information is just kind of where we came out with the student stations, or 1412 student stations, equating to about $23,000 per station, 198 per square foot. Just a quick on the schedule. Yes, sir. Quick on the schedule, our NTP, in hopes that the board approves tonight, we would get on the 18th with a construction start plus or minus roughly February. It says 2017, but the goal is 2018, pending the South Florida water. Yeah, we're behind. And
It's the architect's fault.
Probably.
No, we've actually had a good relationship with working with the team so far. So, and I think we said we were able to get a jump start on the subcontracts, so we're starting to get those in play. The direct owner purchase, our builder's risk, CSIP, enrolling that with the subcontractors. The goal is to do the early release packages, get the submittals to Schenkel Schultz and the design team for approval, so that once we are able to start, materials are arriving on site and direct owner purchase is already underway. That's it. Harmony.
And next up, we'll have Michigan Ave Elementary School. And I'll just mention, while everyone's getting in place, that Moss & Associates has committed to working through a partnering process. So we'll be meeting in February to identify mutual goals for the owner, the CM, and the design professional, and finding ways to work through the project expeditiously to find opportunities continued opportunities. Mark?
Yes,
From Michigan Ave.
Yeah, John Quattrone from Son Associates will start us off.
Today?
Okay, and we'll be brief. Project goals have not changed from our last report, so we'll move on from there.
946 student stations is what we're designing the school to.
Right.
Still at that number, right?
Good number, Rick.
The status of permitting is the South Florida Water Management ERP was issued on November the 22nd. City of St. Cloud, we've answered their comments as of 12:05. We're just expecting that to be a routine approval from them. Osceola County revised their documents on 11:30. And on water and sewer permits, FDEP water and sewer permits will be submitted as soon as they are signed by the City of St. Cloud. Basically, all of these are in process and moving normally, and we are not expecting any hiccups at all on any of the permitting. Status of the drawings, on Friday of this week, as per the schedule, we will have our conform documents completed. So we've met every submittal schedule that was put together.
And we did have a very aggressive schedule on the design side of this project.
And as we've covered in the past, there's also been a great deal of user input, stakeholder input, and that's pretty much the same as we've reported to you in the past. And we've reported basically on the site planning here and the parking, and that has not changed since our last report to you. And at this point, we'll have our CM update you.
So with that, we've had our outreach programs that we've been working through. We actually held one here at the Heritage Park about 3-4 weeks ago. We had a decent turnout for that. We've right now, I believe, based upon our direct solicitations as well, that we have sent out over 600 invitations and have had conversations with about that many different companies. We're intending, or expecting, I should say, 200 or more bids to come in for all the trade bids on this package as well. Based on that, our current schedule is, we had a site visit that was on the 29th for all the subcontractors to attend. Bidding currently was originally scheduled for this Thursday. However, due to the conform set coming out on Friday, we've chosen to postpone that bid date to the 21st. That won't have any impact on the approval of the GMP or any of the start date or completion of the project. We just felt it was better to incorporate all of those documents at one time and get the pricing all inclusive versus trying to go back out after those conform set came out. So that was a decision that we made.
And from the outreach events, you reached out to get a lot of interest to ensure that those bidders understand that when those documents will be available.
Yes.
Instead of bidding with addenda, they're basically
Yeah, they're
right
gonna,
off of the final conform set,
Right.
much cleaner.
so it should actually help, obviously, to prevent any confusion with the bid package. Again, the start date of the, we're starting an early GMP. We're asking for approval tonight, which is the relocation of playground equipment, covered play, those kind of items early in the process. So when we do start the project, that the school's not without those for very long. So that was the intent of that, and it's on schedule right now to start in a week from now.
And that early works GMP is on the agenda for this evening.
I got one question for Dr. Pace. Department of Education's not going to get impediment with this, right?
We're moving forward.
Yep, yes, ma'am. I
Yeah,
get it.
the idea with the early package is that the other option was to either do things that are temporary, which would, you spend extra money, you have to tear it down when you're done. This way, we put the final amenities where they belong, do it once, and the school doesn't lose the use of that equipment for an entire year. So it was, and shortens the schedule a little bit too. So it's
Absolutely.
very good.
August of 19 open?
Yeah, 100%
For
completed.
phase 2, yes.
Different.
So yeah, phase 1 actually completes in February of 19, and we expect that you would move in probably during that spring break.
Over the holiday breaks.
That's always fun.
But
Well, spring break move is easier than a winter break move. There's nobody around to move.
The summer move is even easier.
Or we could wait till then, but
You could.
I get it, no, I understand.
And that's kind of where we are currently. Like I said, we're expecting good bid coverage coming next Thursday, so we feel pretty good about where we're at this point.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Den John Middle School. Mr. George Thomas, CT Chair. Okay, we'll go ahead and move forward with the update. Mark and I will tag team that. Project objectives remain the same. We plan to demolish Building 1 and renovate the existing buildings 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Of course, we're working with the core stakeholder, Mr. Allen, and the principal to ensure that we're properly identifying the existing programs and any future programs. Status of permits, still early in the design phase, so as you can see, there's a lot in progress, but we have identified all the permitting needs for this project, and we'll continue to monitor those through the process. Mark, you want to take program verification?
yes, the first step in the design process is to identify everything that's unique and special to the school. We know we have a facilities list for a general prototypical middle school, and that is where the designer starts. But then they have to go and meet with the school, find out what programs they have that are maybe extra, find out what programs they don't have that are on our standard list. And from there, they right-size the design. So they actually got out with a head start and put kind of everything that they could possibly put in the school, and so we're working to right-size that effort. We've already had one meeting with the stakeholders, and it was basically a data gathering meeting, and we are going to continue that process, working with, like Ray with School Nutrition Services, working with the IT department. They've already flipped the media center. We can do those neat things in this stage when it's just kind of a napkin sketch situation. We don't have the schematic submitted yet. We just have program verification. So now CT SHU has submitted their program verification documents to us. We've met with our planning department to get the proper number of student stations. So what we're really expecting the enrollment to be, and we'll move forward with the schematic design now based on all that input. And as you can see, we have another design review meeting scheduled for the 21st with the stakeholders.
So per your request, we are keeping all our stakeholders well informed. Next, our site plan. This is where we are currently at to build the new building right here behind the existing buildings. This is where the existing building 1 is located that will be demolished. A new car loop will be put in its place, and portion of the bus loop. So today, the bus loop operates on the north end of the site, and the car loop is in the middle. It's a little lollipop, I'll call it. It really isn't much of a car loop and is a real challenge at dismissal time, and there is no left outs. So this new car loop will actually be 3 lanes, 1 ingress, 2 egress for a left and a right turn lane, and we're working with the city of Kissimmee to cost share for a time of use traffic signal.
With the aquatic center next.
It would align right with the.
Sure.
So the bus loop will go in here, appropriate stacking for the buses, and then a service drive off here, which will be the access for dumpsters, chillers, and again, the new
Kitchen
building
deliveries.
here. These are the existing buildings, including the existing gymnasium that will be renovated. It has very small locker rooms, so we'll look at incorporating appropriate locker rooms, adding on to the building. And this is the music suite. We are looking at the possibility of adding a new band component. Today, the school shares the band component here with orchestra. So that space is smaller, would work well for a new orchestra.
I want to go back to the gym for a second. You said you're going to be renovating the gym?
We are going to be adding on to the gym and some light renovation.
But you're going to be keeping the gym as it is?
Yes.
So when you
Yes, sir.
say renovating, that means the additions, or are you going to change up the lighting, the floor, or?
Yeah, we'll go through and address the finishes, those that are needed.
Because, I mean, I've been in the gym recently, the gym's in pretty good shape.
It is. And it was recently renovated to add those locker rooms back with the city of
I haven't been in the
Kissimmee.
locker rooms, I've been in the gym.
Okay.
Well, they're small, there's no showers, and there's enough bathrooms,
Okay.
you know, for PE, but not for big events. So we'll be adding showers, adding bathrooms, and locker rooms in the addition. That's just again, a very conceptual idea, just showing, yeah, there's going to be an addition onto the gym.
Sure.
One of the things that CT Shoe pitched when they did their oral presentations to us is they happened to notice that Building 2 would be virtually ideal for an ESE, to remodel into an ESE suite.
Okay.
It just works out space-wise almost perfectly. And Building 3 also lends itself very well to being remodeled into an admin space. By doing that, we can do a remodel early on and not have to wait for the main building to be built.
Right.
So it's
great.
that's one of the reasons why we landed on this idea. CT is basically using their prototype, and we've just selected
Pirtle.
well, we selected them, CT is one of our prototype elementary schools.
Yes.
We'll be bringing that to the board in January. We're working on that agenda item now.
Right.
So that basically shows the kit of parts that they have for their prototype. So a lot of it's already designed. It's just a matter of working with our stakeholders to right-size everything. As I mentioned, the IT department wants to flip the media center, which is not a problem at all. It works. It's just we haven't built it yet.
And here are some elevations for the new building, what it might look like, early glimpse. We're continuing to hone that in, and we'll be working with our CM Pirtle on constructability
Where's the dragon logo going to go?
up towards the front of the school. So this building is the building that sits behind this building right here.
And again, the idea was to keep the amenities, the shared amenities available, make sure there's adequate parking for after-hours use of the gym and the athletic fields.
And that concludes Denjon Middle School. We'll move into the demonstration high school.
Just a quick comment, Mr. Clinch, you know this because I said it to you, Board. I just want to make you aware that I was with Mr. Clinch looking at some of these sites and facilities, I think last week, and one of the things I said to him was, when we're doing these schools, and Denjon was the one that I brought it up on, is it sits directly across the street from the Osceola Valencia campus, and to pick up on some of the vernacular that exists on that campus to tie into what we're doing so that we start to create academic village type feels when you go into that particular area. In the same, with Harmony, what we're doing with the middle school should complement what already exists at the high school, and making sure that as we're designing these things, we don't just go, well, this is what we always do, this is what it's supposed to look like, but we really start being intentional about designing for where it is that we're building and what the community represents. Valencia is a really good play for us, in my opinion, for this school. So
We had that discussion about Boggy Creek, the Boggy Creek High School, too. And I think they did incorporate some of the
And I referenced that
Yes.
when we were talking
Yes.
about
specific,
Valencia.
whatever they called it,
Yes.
architecture.
You're absolutely right.
Pacific Northwest.
All right, on to the demonstration STEM high school. So this project can be broken into two phases. The first is for the first 125 students for the fall of 18. We continue to work with the county. We have a meeting scheduled for this Friday to advance those conversations and determine how we move forward with phase one. And then phase two for the ultimate school, the 500 student stations. So we have completed due diligence. The site plan has been approved, so that's step one of a three-step process with county compliance, which also includes DRC. The platting is in progress, continues in progress. So we're working very closely with the county to keep that moving forward. Tentative schedule, we completed our design presentations, and we, sorry about that. Got carried away. Board recommendation this evening, and we intend to issue a letter of intent We have been working through our procurement department to pre-negotiate the designer's fee so that we have the ability to put them to work right away and pick up a month on the design schedule, which is huge because this is a very aggressive schedule, as you can see from the bottom timeline. So there will be 5 meetings that will take place tomorrow morning. The first is county compliance. We have the county coming in to talk about the compliance DRC process. Meeting 2 will be with the core stakeholders. Very important meeting to identify the project objectives, and that's what will carry us through the next year and a half for this project. Next meeting with all the SDOC stakeholders to start gathering that preliminary input. 4th meeting, design objectives, to talk about the mechanical systems, high-performance building criteria, LED lighting, cogeneration, geothermal. We're putting everything on the table to consider for this project so that we can achieve those project goals.
Ultra-tight envelope.
Yes. So the final meeting will be to talk about SDOC processes, our building department review process, and to get the designer up to speed as quickly as possible, arm them with all the information they need so that they can go off and start schematic design and hopefully have something to look at shortly after we return in January. Again, the design phase, 8.5 months, and that's with the month that we're able to pick up by working through this process that we just talked about, and then finally 10 months for construction, which will be also very aggressive, so that we can open the school in the fall of 19. And that concludes our update.
Good
In the
job.
fall of 19.
Yes, sir.
Is the new school building.
The 500.
We started our temporary space August of 18.
So it'll be a whole year in the temporary space.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, whole school year.
But it'd be less than a year and a half in it.
Has the city closed on the property with the county of Beaumont? Do you know?
I do not know.
Okay. And it has, the conversation that you and I had briefly with regard to the changes, the original plan was for us to lease space in the county's building. That lease payment was going to be offset by the Beaumont payments and all of that. Has that all been worked out? Are we now realizing any additional costs, or is the county absorbing the cost because they're not going to have the facility that was promised ready? Where are we at with that?
That's our meeting on Friday
Okay.
with all the key stakeholders.
So, Board, just to make sure that you know, I know you know what I'm talking about, but just to make sure you know my opinion, we entered into this process with the county based upon a certain set of goals and expectations with both parties. And we all understand that things happen, but one of those things was that the county would have that building ready for us to be able to move our students in and begin our temporary operation. If they're not able to, and now we have to bring in relocatables and do something else, it's additional cost to us that weren't factored into us going into this agreement with the county. I'm of the opinion if the change comes from the county side, they're not able to deliver the product that we were going to utilize at the time, that we shouldn't be hit with those costs that ultimately are going to end up having that take place within this program for us to get the school open. So my opinion is that we need to work that out with the county to where if they're not able to get their facility open on time for us to lease based upon the original agreement, that there needs to be some type of offset for us in the midst of all that. It's my opinion. We shouldn't realize the expense because of the delay that they're realizing, for whatever reason it is, and I don't know what their delay purpose is, but.
We have the terms of the MOU that we'll be reviewing with the staff on Friday, and the county manager and I will both be in attendance to help make sure that we're able to make the right decisions.
You two and the rest.
Board, anything? Well, we will,
Board members, I would remind you just of 2 things before we leave, if I may, sir. We are going to have some entertainment for the holidays right outside.
More entertainment. So what do we have before? The Neptune Jazz Band?
We have something at 5, don't we? Yes, we have something at 5. Okay, yes, outside.
That's fine.
Okay.
Sorry.
Holiday entertainment, and also there are snacks if you wanted to grab something before our 5:30 meeting.
Fireworks.
Okay.
Fireworks.
Stand adjourned until 5:30 for our regular.